today's episode of The Human Angle. A happy new week to you. A wedding is an event, marriage a journey, and child nurturing a commitment. Children are the salt of the earth, and their innocence, bravery, and untainted perspective of life, untouched by the biases and melancholy that life imposes on adults, makes them representatives of the best of mankind. It is for this reason that parents need to do their best to raise children with a healthy appreciation of a life unconstrained by the shades of religious intolerance, ethnic profiling, and fear that makes adults less enviable representatives of mankind. The nurturing responsibilities of parents is perhaps the most critical and yet most unappreciated aspects of family. The home is more than a house filled with people. It's a complex social process of raising human beings with aspirations of greatness, emotional intelligence, and intellectual integrity. The home is also an incubator for an increasing improved human race. It is this understanding that makes the home the center of human advancements and child rearing the noblest of the roles of a family. On this week's episode of The Human Angle, we'll be discussing the pleasures, pressures, and financing of raising a baby from the ProShare Raising a Baby report. Specifically today, we have with us on the show to discuss this topic a family life practitioner and parent coach, Mrs. Ofonime Bassey. Thank you for joining us on the program today. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Okay, first, it's
great having you with us.
Thank you.
First, the period after a couple have just gotten married, how can and should couples really manage their first year in marriage?
All right. So for me, I think the first year of marriage is actually the most important. The most important, that's the year in which you lay the foundation of the kind of home you hope to build. All right. So that's I realize that in this part of the world where we are, that's the time that couples want to put on the same uniform, move from one social gathering to the other. That's not bad in itself. But that is actually the time for you to sit down and draft a family vision for your home. So first and foremost, in the first year, mind you, this is someone that you have not been with before. And so you're married, you now get to your home. What should you do? This is when you deploy the skill of observation. So at this point, you observe the skill, you deploy the skill of observation. Both of you would have to keenly observe each other to identify empowering and disempowering patterns. What do I mean by empowering patterns? Both of you, first and foremost, I just want to define what marriage is. Marriage is the coming together of two mature adults from two different nations to form one nation which promotes their best interests and the world's peace. So by nation here, I mean that you are coming from a particular family and your spouse is also coming from another family. You now come together. What are the things that worked from where we were coming from? Those are the empowering patterns. Now, what are the things that did not work? Those are the disempowering patterns. So these two individuals come together in the first year of their marriage, look at the empowering patterns, the things that have worked for them, and then look for a way to draft it into their new nation and do away with the disempowering patterns from where they came from. And then they now work together to raise a home. So it's important that in the first year of marriage, first and foremost, these people keenly observe and identify the disempowering and the empowering patterns. At this particular time also, they should be able to identify their areas of strength and weaknesses and adjust accordingly so that their family will run smoothly. When they are done with that, this is also the time that they want to draft their family vision. What's their family vision? What do they want to see? What do they want to see in their family, in their home? How do they want to raise their children? How do they want things to be? So this is the stage at which they also put structures in place for their family to thrive. So the first year of marriage, it's more of observation, putting structures in place. Just like you have a plot of land, you don't just go ahead to build. The foundation for a bungalow will not be the same one for a duplex. So this is the foundation laying process or stage in the family, the new family that has been crafted. And these structures in place, by the structures in place. I mean, this is when they put their communication system in place. How do they want to communicate? How would they want their financial or their economic system to work? How would they want to go about their affairs in their home? Talking about the governing system, talking about the educational system for the children that are not yet born, recreational system. So this is the time to put all those things in place. You don't just wait for the baby to come before you start doing this. This is the time that you lay the foundation. So I'll just wrap it up. This is the time that you want to know how your family looks like. You want to know how, you want to draft how you want your home to be, how many children you want to have, what are you going to do, how are you going to invest towards their education and all of that. That's the time to do that. And then you proceed from there. Thank you. Yeah, I'm hearing you, please. Exactly. Exactly.
Your views on parental planning and processes for fatherhood and motherhood.
First and foremost, what I've observed also, because it happened to me, so I'm going to be sharing a lot from my experiences. What I've observed is that we plan a lot for wedding, we plan a lot for the wedding, we plan a lot, let's say, for the marriage, and yet we don't plan about parenting. I have written severally, I have spoken severally on different platforms that just like we have GSTs or the general studies in school, parenting should be part of those general studies that we get in the university, because most people would parent in one way or the other, even if you are not married and have your biological child, but you would find yourself at one point or the other raising another individual, raising another human. All right. So for me, parental planning starts from there. You don't just wait until you get into marriage before you start learning things about parenting. So before you got married, what courses have you enrolled for? How have you? It's not just about getting pregnant, going to the studio, having a photo shoot, and having what you call a baby shower. There's much more to it than that. So first, and another thing I want to mention is that fatherhood and motherhood is a role. So that's why you realize that some men are great husbands, but they are not good fathers, or they are great fathers and great mothers. Sorry, great husbands and great wives, but they are not good mothers and good fathers. And you cannot blame them. It's just because they don't know what to do. They could be loving as amongst themselves as husband and wife, as couples. They could be very loving, but when once another individual or a baby comes into the picture, you realize that sometimes they lose their footing. And this is because they did not intentionally think about it. They did not intentionally say, oh, what are we going to do? What are we not going to do? All right, so parental planning, just like I said. Now, at that point, when this baby comes, start asking yourself, what do I need to do to become better as a child is coming? What are the habits I need to cultivate? What are the things that I need to put in place? Am I someone that is very impatient? And being that another child is going to come into the picture, what do I need to do? Now, you may not understand all these things if you don't go for parenting courses or you have not attended seminars in time past, because certain things will take you by surprise. So first and foremost, you want to equip yourself. Reading books is great, but going for seminars, for conferences will also help you. People get to share their experiences there in those conferences. So you will do yourself a lot of favor if you do that even before the baby comes here. All right, so talking about parental plan. Now, what are the things that you should put in? But like I said, ask yourself, a baby is going to come into the picture. What habits do I need to cultivate to help me become a better mom or a better father? Now, how will I and my partner, or how will I and my husband work to make this child comfortable? What are the things that we need to put in place that will promote the best interests of this child that we are bringing into the world? What support system do I need in place? Sometimes we forget that we need a support system. That's why sometimes the mothers are burned out, or the husband going to do it. That is not the time to start looking for help. You should have had a support system in place, whether it's a relative, whether you want to employ the service of a nanny, but you should have this in place so that when this child comes, it does not unsettle you. He or she does not unsettle you. And the final part, even while you're planning all of this, what is your financial plan for this child that is coming? Do you want to go ahead and do launching to buy clothes for the child or to send the child to school? Before now, you should have had a plan, a financial plan, knowing that, oh, this child is going to come. So that means I'm going to buy diapers, I'm going to buy baby food. The baby is going to grow very fast at such and so pace. How much clothes does the child need? All those things should have been put in place. Even apart from that, we even go as far as even thinking, okay, when this child comes up, based on the traits and the special giftings of this child, which school are we going to put this child in? You start looking out. It's not when that child is big or grown to a particular stage before you start going out to look for. You should know the kind of educational system you want for that child based on your vision, based on what you and your husband have sat down to plan. What kind of child do you want to raise? A world changer, a solution provider? What are the things in place? So it is just, parenting is more than conceiving and birthing a child. There is a lot that is involved in parenting. Yeah, that's just what I have to say.
So maybe press on a little bit. You spoke about the fact that a father can be, or a man can be a good husband, and may not necessarily be a good father, or a woman can be a good mother, but not necessarily be a good wife, father, but not necessarily be a good mother. Could you shed more light on that, and then how people can really move into that phase, minus reading books and attending seminars? How can they grow into that?
Hello, are you hearing me? I'm not hearing anyone.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, so basically I was saying you made a very interesting statement about the fact that a man can be a good husband but not necessarily know how to be a good father. And a woman can be a good wife but not necessarily know how to be a good mother. Could you shed more light on that and how people can actually grow from that? How do they know, really, prepare for themselves without reading books? Yes. Wow. Hello? Okay, we're having some challenges with the connection. But while I'm doing that, like she has said, parenting is very key. And personally, as she said, finances in terms of even going into parenting is one aspect that couples should look into before proceeding on that journey. It's beyond saying you want to have a child. How prepared are you to have that child? How prepared are you for the finances? How prepared are you for the mental state? How prepared are you emotionally to actually bring a child into the world? Parenting is beyond yourself. You're bringing in somebody that you need to take care of. And hello, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I'll just give you a wrap up of what you said. But like I said earlier, you made
a very interesting statement in the last question. You mentioned the fact that there can be a man, he's a good father, he's a good husband rather, but he doesn't have the ability to be a good father. And you can be a woman, be a good wife, but then necessarily be a good mother. So minor and attending seminars, how can one prepare for that stage without even knowing? Because you probably would not know until you reach that stage whether you're going to be a good mother or a good father. But by attending seminars, by reading books, in what other areas can people prepare themselves for that role of fatherhood and motherhood?
Yeah, for me, why I said that was because, some of us grew up and the relationship with our parents were not actually nice. And so unconsciously, they imbibe these empowering patterns. They unconsciously, resent as a result of what happened to them. They have not yet healed. They are going through a lot. And so that's why I'm saying sometimes they may not know. Okay, I'll give you a typical example. When I was growing, when I had the intention, when I was, before I had my children, I kept saying, oh, my children are going to be the most treasured, gifts that God has given. I'm not going to do anything to hurt them. And then 2 years after I had my son, I was pregnant for my daughter. And I realized I was so impatient. Now, the very same thing I was complaining about that I didn't like, seeing other parents do, I was doing it to my child. He asked me a question and I'm shouting, what do you mean? Why are you asking me? And he's telling me, mommy, I'm not going to do that. I'm saying, why? You dare question me? Like, how can you even question me? Unknown to me, I did not know that, there's certain things I saw. Remember, certain things are reflective. Parenting is also reflective. This reflection must not necessarily be from your family. It could be the patterns you pick from the school where you were schooled, where how your teacher shouted at you. Maybe your teacher asked a question and the teacher is wondering, how come you don't know? And you're like, so you don't even understand this simple thing. You don't even understand. Shame, shame, shame. Everybody say shame, shame, shame. You did not like it, but you did not know that when you are also confused or frustrated, you will do the same to another person. So for me, that's what I'm saying. At that first stage of marriage, you have to realize, where has your spouse been hurt? Where has he been hurting? Does he need healing? Does he or she need therapy? Now, through your conversations, some of these things will come up. And it's for me, prayer is good, but there are some things that you need therapy. You need to like, how did you get this? Why did you think this way? Why do you think that flogging is the best way? Why do you think that, okay, you think flogging is the best way, but our spouse will hurt us and we don't get a can to flog our spouse, but our children, we flog them because we feel they are defenseless. You have an excuse. So for me, it's a combination of a lot of things. Your significant life experiences, your upbringing, and the environment that you grew up. You don't know how those things have been embedded in your system until you have a child. So you have to be conscious about it. And how do you do that? Maybe anytime you find yourself around children, what's your disposition to children? Do you realize that children, naturally just disgust you? You don't like them spitting on you. You don't like them touching you, and you want to be a great mother. It will eventually show forth in your own home.
Wow.
It will definitely show forth, because I had a situation where sometimes maybe my children will poop, and I could not stand it. I'll just call my husband, please come and sort this one. You see the particular one, I cannot deal with this one. I cannot deal with this one. You understand? So there's certain things you never knew you were prepared for, but sometimes you get a cue when you are in the midst of other children, and it will help you understand what are the things I need to work on. I remember when I was, before I became a mother, I would hear that women normally suck, kata from their children, and I'm like, yeah, what's that? I said, I cannot. What is that? I can't. When I grew up, I now said, okay, when I now had children, I knew that there was now something that you could use to suck off mucus from their nose. So you may not know that you're not great at it, but there will be things in you that will give you a pointer that, look, this part is not sorted. So you just have to watch yourself, be observant. When you're around children, what triggers you? What makes you happy? What makes you sad? What makes you agitated? What are the things you cannot stand? And that will give you a cue to working on yourself, so that when you have children, it doesn't affect you.
Wow. Okay, I would like us to move. I mean, we could stay on this topic for a long while on fatherhood and motherhood, but I'd like us to move into single parenting. We've had people for reasons a spouse is not available anymore and they have to parent the child alone. Now, from your family coach, what would you say are the pressures and pleasures of single parenting?
Okay, so first and foremost, I just want to clarify something. You've already said it. Single parenting, it does not necessarily mean that your husband has left. There are three situations that can lead to you being a single parent. You could be separated. You could be that you're divorced from your husband, and the third could actually be that your partner actually died. All right. Yeah. So it's not necessarily, single parenting is not necessarily or because a partner has left. It could be that you just lost a partner. Now, like I normally say, when it comes to raising children, you must always consider the best interest of the child. I had said something earlier on, which you said it caught your attention. Someone can be a good mother and may not be a great wife. Someone can also be a great wife, but will not be a good mother. The same thing. So you have to understand that parenting, as in these things, that there are roles. So you have to get that right. So when you're talking about single parenting, yes, let's assume in this case you're separated from your partner, or there is a divorce. So now, like I said, the child's best interest must always be considered. Aside your differences, what do you want for this child? You cannot, because you have an issue and a misunderstanding with your spouse, now mess up a whole child, now paint a picture, model bad values to the child, and the child said, oh, if this is what marriage is all about, to hell with it. So it's, like I said, it also requires intentionality. Now, both of you, both the husband and the wife, in the case where you're separated or divorced, must know that the life of another individual is here. And you have to do everything in his or her best interest. So what do you do? What do you do? You have to start, what are the things that we need to put in place? to be fine. Okay, does it require me spending some time with him and my partner spending some time? Look at your areas of strength. Am I good in mathematics and my husband is good in English language? How do we work a plan together to make sure that this child has the best from both of us? Now, and you also know that now there's some things that children go through a lot in school. When they go to school and see their friends bragging, oh, my father bought me this. You don't want your child to be depressed. You don't want your child to feel that way. So you have to, if there are PTA meetings, even though both of you are divorced, you must go together for that PTA meeting. If there are school gatherings, open days, you both of you will drop your differences, put your differences aside and go together, because you remember you want to raise a wholesome child, not just any child. So your child needs both of you to be raised as a wholesome human being. Yes, the pressure will be there. I can never be good enough, but you can also, as a people, can work together. And sometimes it's also, most of the time, is a therapist or a family life practitioner, a professional is supposed to help you walk through this, help you in the scripting based on what your child is, so that you will know when to drop your differences for the benefit of the child. Yes, the pressures will be there. Am I going to be a good parent? How will my child turn out? But if you can put these things in place, definitely you'd be able to, draft a script for him. And then apart from that, you should also model good values. Your marriage may not have worked well, but what values can you model for this child? What values can you model? Now model those right values for the child, so that the child will know, well, even though my parents are not together, but they have tried a lot. They have, when it comes to things that have to do with me, my parents have come to an agreement on this matter. So separation or divorce should not make your child like a laggard. And I also want to add, if you have a partner that is, so say for instance, let's say a father molests a daughter, or a daughter or a mother molests a son, that might be very, very difficult. That may be very difficult for you to now say, okay, want to come together. In that place, you may also need to have a support system. It could be an uncle at that time that will take the place of either the father or an aunt in the place of the mother. But someone must be there to act, to have that fatherly role or that motherly role for that child to, to emulate. So make sure that he or she is raised as a wholesome child. And then pleasurable moments for me, okay, those were the pleasures I'm talking about. With the pleasurable moments, I think some of the pleasures you will get is, look, even though I'm a single parent, based on what I've seen, the moments as every time that child hits a developmental, stage or milestone, you'll be excited. Whenever you see that child is becoming different, is achieving a lot, you have this sense of pleasure in you, that though your marriage may not have ended well, or maybe you may have lost a partner, but this child's life has not been put on hold because of your differences or whatever challenges you may have.
Sorry, thank you so much. But I would like us to move now into, because of time, let's move on to there's been debates on, is it right for you to be a stay-at-home mom or be a working mom? And there have really been, I know I've had scenarios where people would say, okay, I'm working, but I feel guilty because I don't have so much time for my child. And a stay-at-home mom is feeling like she's not maybe being valued as much because she's staying at home with the child and not spending time outside the home. But what exactly would you say are the prospects and challenges of being a stay-at-home mom or a working mom?
Okay, first and foremost, I just want to say that a mom is a mom. I just want people to know that a mom is a mom, whether you are a stay-at-home mom or you're a working class mom, in as much as you're giving your child all that child needs, and you don't have to feel bad. Now, I realize that over time, certain what the social media has projected, they project like stay-at-home moms as people that are lazy, as people that, they don't want to get something doing. Now, I always say that no two homes are the same. There are different issues in my home as it is in another person's home. I'm going to also use an example for myself as well. When I got married and I and my husband, we wanted to start raising children. Because of the nature of my husband's job, we knew that both of us could not be absentee parents in the lives of our children. And so we now said that, so what is the best? What can we do? How do we work around this? Being that the nature of your job takes you away from the family, and then you now come back some weeks after. And I now said, okay, I'm going to commit myself to raising the children whilst you are not here, until they have picked up and reach a particular stage, and then I can now, while I'm doing that, I'm improving myself, and then at a point I'll now branch out to my career. So for me, I did that. Though there were times that people will come and say, "What are you doing here? After your result you made in school, what are you still doing at home?" There was that, there was. So at some point I'll doubt, I'll feel so bad. But I want to tell you, part of what I'm doing today as a family life practitioner, if I did not invest those 10 years or those years into my children, most of the things I know now I would not know. I wouldn't even be talking to you. I would not share so much from my wealth of experience. So you will not say that I'm lazy. No, you will not say that I was not, because you're not here. What people don't know is that staying at home is also such a huge task. Such a huge task. All right. It's the same organization skills that you need that the working class mom would need. So if I'm a stay-at-home, I cannot criticize a fellow mother that is working to, raise and make money for the family. I cannot say that woman is not doing well. All I would advise is that if you know that you cannot be a stay-at-home, even as a stay-at-home mom, you need a support system. You need a support system. You need someone that will help you. You cannot do it all alone. Don't feel that you know it all. You have a support system. And sometimes this is what the working class moms do too. They know that they cannot meet up, and so they put structures in place for someone to take care of their children. But what I want to say is that don't look for cheap labor as a working class mom. Make sure that you get someone that is competent to raise your children. Whoever it is, do evaluations from time to time to make sure that, you're not missing out on anything, and make out time deliberately to be involved in the lives of your children. It could be when you come back, while you're making dinner, while you're fixing dinner, while you're chatting, at least get involved in the child's life all the time. So it's challenging for both single moms and working class moms. There's no one that is superior. There's no one that is inferior. Both of them, if in as much as you have a plan and you know what you want, you are doing the same job, though differently.
Let me at this point just say big kudos to all mothers, whether I'm working class or stay-at-home moms, really be the job. And I must even say kudos to you as well for having to take that sacrifice of saying you want to be at home and take care of children. A round of applause for you there. But financial planning. So what exactly, because really to raise children, we need finances. What's the of financial planning for the family from your own experiences?
All right. Okay, before I just go ahead, for saying the last point, I forgot to say that both as a stay-at-home mom and as a working class mom, you have to evolve eventually with your child. Just know that you are evolving. The important thing is that you are not going to force your child into your mold per se, but you'll be evolving based on the special qualities that you've seen in your child. So while you're evolving, it's also making you a better mother. All right. So I just wanted to put that out. And then the importance of financial planning. Let me be honest with you. You said I should share. You particularly said that I should share my experience. I'll be honest with you here. When it came to finances, I was not really interested as myself. Not because just because I realized my areas of strength, and I realized that my husband was very, very okay in this aspect. It's just recently, like in the past, maybe say 5 years, I've been more intentional in my financial approach. I just said, it's not just okay for my husband to just handle everything. What if he just what if I wake up one day and he's no more here? As in, maybe he dies. Would I now start?
Let you start from
being afloat. So financial planning should be yes for both husbands and wives. Yes, there may be one of you that may be good at it, but the other partner should not just leave it just push everything to the person. So I'll share what I did in my own home when it comes to financial planning. Certain things I put in place was I had to differentiate with my husband what my needs and what my wants are. My needs and what my wants are as a family. And don't do it alone. Let your children also know. Let your children also know that, look, when it comes to, it's not everything that you just want that you have. So let them know from a tender age, all right? There was this situation where my children needed new school bags. Their bags was not torn, but because they went to school and they saw their mates carrying new school bags. And I asked them simple questions. Let's look at your school bag. Is there any issue with it? No, mommy. And so why do you want to get in new school? Because all my friends. And we now have to start telling them that, look, no, you don't get things because others are doing it. So make sure, like I said, make sure that you differentiate between your wants and your need, and get your children involved as much as you can if they can understand what you're talking about. Then also know that you have to save. Saving is important. If you cannot save from 10,000, you will not save when you have 1 million. So as the money is coming, set aside, save. Everyone knows what COVID has done to us. If you did not have savings, it would just have blown you away. But if you consistently save, no matter how little it was, you would have emergency funds. So as a family, I make sure that it's not every party that I go to, it's not every ashobi that I get. It's not every time I get new shoes or new clothes. What is priority in a home? Now, if I have, sometimes we buy so many clothes, and we don't get to wear them.
Exactly.
It's time for you to cut down what is necessary. And then don't tell anyone. All your friends are going on vacation and you cannot meet up. You now say, oh, we are going on vacation. Do what works for you. Live within your own means. Not all vacation that you go for. Not, you can make a great time at home. So all these things, and then plan to let the better partner in your finances handle it. So in your marriage handle, like I said earlier, if you know that there's someone that is prudent that will always keep you in check, don't, even if you're the man and your wife is the one that is doing it, don't feel bad and say, oh, my wife will now be as if she's the head of the home. No, if she is more knowledgeable in that aspect, let her handle it. It will help you, and your family not to run into money issues or money problems. Yeah. And then finally, openness is key. The issue of finance, if you now say my money is my money, but my husband's money is our money, that's where the problem is. Openness is key. And these are some of the things that you should have sorted before you got married or the early years of your marriage, so that there will be transparency and you would have openness even in your dealings in the home with your finances. Thank you.
Well, I really have like to take you up on some other points that you raised, but maybe we'll bring you back on the program one more time to address it. But finally, what would you be your advice for couples on raising a child or children?
The end of this episode, and as she has said, financial planning is key for a couple. Knowing your vision is key as a couple. What do you want to see in your marriage? What do you want to see in your children? And setting that right before bringing them in is absolutely important. The truth is, the successful nurturing of a child or children is the hallmark of the union of a man and woman, and the empire of a couple is not brick and mortar, but social relevance that emerges from the quality of people that are products of their union. I'll leave you with a quote by Jim Henson that says, kids don't remember what you try to teach them, they remember what you are. That brings me to the end of today's episode of The Woman Angle. You can send in your questions and comments to programs@PoShareNG.com and business@PoShareNG.com. Visit our website, www.PoShareNG.com, to get more information on our personal finance, the Raising a Baby reports, and updates from our news stories and videos. Also follow us on our social media platforms showing on the screen for further updates on our market reports. Don't forget to keep it a date with us tomorrow, as we'll be discussing on the stages of raising a baby, the thrills and twists before motherhood, and financing. Till then, thank you for watching, and bye for now.